Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we got some tech news for you. We're going to talk about those Facebook layoffs. You know how Facebook was going to prune its workforce. They were going to get rid of low performers. And those low performers that got gone, they disagree with the assessment that they were low performers.
Well, some of them I do wonder because they said they were on parental leave when they got gone too. So I think that they're basically, you took leave. So I don't agree with that.
Yeah, and they're in California, so it'll be interesting to see if there are lawsuits or whatever. But we're going to talk about this because, look, I don't think everybody that got laid off maybe deserved to be laid off, but we also have a generation of tech workers that think they're owed a job.
That's
forever.
True.
And
you can say a generation of workers who think they're owed a job forever.
And we have a lot of people, especially in tech, that took advantage of the perks at the companies. We saw this at Google, we saw it at Facebook, we saw it definitely at Twitter, where they would come in and it was basically adult daycare. That's what they were actually calling it, was adult daycare, because they'd work maybe 2 or 3 hours a day. They'd take all these breaks. It wouldn't really add anything to the company. And, even when times are good, companies are always looking to eke out more and more profits, especially if they're public. So, there's always the potential for layoffs and,
it just reminds me of the .com bubble bursting back in the day.
Yep.
That's what this whole tech burst reminds me of. If you weren't there, well, you probably weren't even born yet, but that's what it reminds me of.
I remember those days because I was actually building websites. I've been on the internet a very long time. I was hand coding websites when the .com bubble burst. And I remember I used to get, I think I talked about this before, freelance. I used to be able to make $10,000, $15,000 in a weekend putting together very simple websites for people because everybody wanted a website. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was like, yeah, we all want websites. And then, the bottom fell out of it. And then we had more and more, services like WordPress or whatever that, came along to let people make their own websites. But
Wix.
Well, yeah, this is like way before Wix. But I mean, it was good. It was good while it lasted. It was great money while it lasted because all these businesses were like, oh my God, I have to be on the internet. And I'm like, well, kick me some bucks and I'll get you on the internet, this weekend. And I was handling all the domain transfers and I had a whole thing going. And then weirdly enough, I kept most of my money in a shoebox because I didn't trust banks.
Yeah, I know you told me that. I just remember you found out I could hand code and you were like, oh my God, marry me now.
I am so juicy right now. That and Street Hawk and Star Wars. Yeah. But let's talk about this because maybe we can shed a little bit of a light on I think the expectations that employees have now, and unfortunately the days of your parents or your grandparents working somewhere for 30, 40 years, retiring with a watch and having a secure retirement, those days are unfortunately over.
They have been long gone for a while.
At least a decade or two. Probably I'd say 2 decades. You are going to have to learn how to fend for yourself. And when you're at a company, you're going to have to realize it's your job to help that company make money. And if you're anti-money or you're a huge pain in the ass,
if you're anti-work,
you're going to get gone, right? So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Help us out here with the Shadow Binders enamel pin set on Kickstarter. You will also get a woohoo. This is our first Nidaria branded product, I think. We're going to start publishing everything under Nidaria. And these are some Shadow Binders pins.
That was my name, by the way.
It was. Yeah, people don't know what that means. It's actually coral reefs and jellyfish. Or in the class Nidaria. So it's all adjacent with the clownfish stuff. So Kiki's smart like that.
I am.
That's why she's
Some
a
days.
keeper. But check these out, guys, on Kickstarter. Yeah, a few days yet. Doing a couple kind of lean and mean campaigns to kind of get our bearings over on Kickstarter. Let's talk about this. I had to pull this picture up because this picture is Zuckerberg. Right here.
So dumb.
I know he's got those those are like Facebook
I get it,
goggles or something, but I just kept thinking the Buggles album cover.
It's the same picture.
It's the same picture. We're living in the age of plastic. By the way, this is one of the finest albums that mankind has ever churned out. The entire album is good, not just Video Killed the Radio Star. But Fortune laid off Meta employees, blast Zuckerberg for running the cruelest tech company out there, as some claim they were blindsided after parental leave.
Yeah, see, the parental leave thing, unless you violated or went too long, that's kind of suck.
Yeah, I have actually heard of that happening many, many times.
I heard of happening a lot of times too, and it's usually to women, and it's crap.
Well, yeah, because usually men don't get
well, sometimes they do.
Apparently, overseas that's like normal. Like men actually get parental leave. And I'm sitting there thinking, the one company I worked at, like not only did I not get parental leave, but when my grandfather was on his deathbed, I didn't get time off either. They wouldn't let me go see him. Oh, I went to go see him, but not as long as I would have liked to. Anyway, employees at Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, are taking to public forums to blast leadership after the company's latest cuts. On Monday, Meta started making what it claimed were performance-based layoffs.
Yeah, they said they were coming.
They told people they were coming, and this is like the third or fourth round in the last couple of years. And basically, what they're doing at Meta is, I think they're pruning because they had way too many people.
Yeah,
and they weren't bringing any value to the company.
It worked for X to get rid of people. So
yeah, well, that's it. Because of Elon Musk, because he knocked over that first domino, all these tech companies, after they saw he could go into Twitter, lay off like 75% of staff, and the thing was still functional, they're like, well, damn, we can do that too. We can lay people off too, because we don't need this many people. Zuckerberg said in an employee memo last month that he planned to cut around 3,600 positions, or about 5% of the workforce, in said performance-based layoffs. But many of the employees affected by the move are speaking out. And they said that they had no prior history of not meeting company expectations. Sometimes they're not going to tell you.
Right.
Sometimes they're not going to tell you, or you're actually, and I'm going to be honest, because I've had to make lists before, and I've been on lists before. Sometimes you look at the workforce and you're kind of like, this person's a pain in the ass. And we'll just say that it was.
Is that why you run the list?
Probably. I asked too many questions, right? They said the hardest part is Meta publicly stating they're cutting low performers, but feels like we have the scarlet letter on our backs. One anonymous employee told Business Insider, people need to know we're not underperformers. Meta did not immediately respond to requests for comment. It might not be just, he said he was starting with underperformers. I don't think he said it was solely underperformers, but underperformers make it easier when you've got to make tough choices. Like, well, these people don't really bring any value to the company. This person, I don't even know what they do, and they cost me $175,000 a year.
Most people aren't going to say, yeah, I'm an underperformer. You know what I mean?
I'm a lazy son of a bitch, and that's why I got fired from Facebook.
They're not going to say that.
So over on Blind, which is an anonymous app for verified employees often used in the tech space, employees are noting, and we'll go out to Reddit too. They're really freaking out on Reddit too. Employees are noting that an unseasonable chill has come over Silicon Valley. Besides allegations of the company misusing the low performer label, some also claim that Meta laid them off while they were taking approved leave. Now that sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, that I don't agree with.
I consistently exceeded expectations multiple years, had a baby in 2024 and got laid off. They're responding to a fellow employee's comment about dozens of people with pristine histories and exceeds ratings that took parental or medical leave and got laid off. I don't know what to say. So here's the thing. Sometimes it's not personal. Most times it's not personal. It's just business, right? It doesn't help you when it's your turn to get the axe, but like.
I just wondered though, because they're saying that a lot of people got laid off because they were on leave. So what they do, go to people that were on leave first. You aren't here, gone.
Here's the thing. I would like to think that they're not stupid enough to do that in California.
I wouldn't think that, but
or they're willing to just like pay whatever fine they got. Because I know California will smack you upside the head for doing that. Another employee who says they were on maternity leave for 6 months added they had no history of below average performance and they're seeking legal advice. Yeah, there we go. Another Meta cast-off called the layoffs cruel, adding that some people were pushed to the lowest ratings while on medical leave.
So yeah, it sounds like if they use these leaves to like drop them, say, oh, you're not performing. Well, of course you're not performing. You're on leave. That's what it sounds like to me.
And what they look at too, I can tell you, having been in meetings where we've had to decide who to get rid of or whatever, sometimes they look at people on medical leave and they're like, when they come back, are they going to be able to perform like they did before? Or and this is cruel. This is cruel. It is cruel, but has come up in conversations before. When they come back, do we have to make special accommodations? When they come back, if they can't perform their duties like they used to, can we get rid of them easily or not?
Well, but the special accommodations, though, I think you might find under the Americans with Disability Act, they were required to make the accommodations. You know what I mean?
Do you think companies?
This is a tight line, a fine line.
This is, but I'm just saying. Do you think companies want to actually go out of their way?
No, I'm just saying though they can't say that out loud because they're going to get sued. This is
no,
a very
but I've been in
line.
conversations. I've been in conversations where it has come up. We had one guy who was for the one company I worked for. He was actually one of the best at the gas and oil stuff, and he was going to be, I think he was going to be wheelchair bound for a while or whatever. And they had to make the decision, do we keep him on because we hope he gets back to where he was before someday? Or do we cut him loose now because, we're going to have to make all these accommodations.
Let me guess, they cut him loose. I know the place. They would have cut him loose.
They cut him loose.
Yeah.
I was in that conversation because they were kind of looking as to what they were going to do as one of the managers. So it was like shit. And of course, the meeting where I got cut, I was not part of that meeting. Obviously, I knew it was coming though because I wasn't stupid. I could see the books. I saw. I could see. I could see what's coming.
You were trouble because you were going to probably report them for.
I was asking questions. I was like, why is one of our divisions that has been struggling, why is it show that had like $0 on the books until the end of the quarter, and all of a sudden, like magically, like hundreds of thousands of dollars appeared as if by magic. And I'm like, where did that money come from? Because that's really damn weird. And then I was gone like 2 weeks later. So anyway, pain in the ass. Like I said, pain in the ass. This person says it seems like it was more about money than performance.
I'm sure it is.
This person was there for a decade and they got axed. Be careful about joining this company. Zuck doesn't care about his employees, only the company. Most companies don't. I mean,
I'm not saying it's right. We're just saying it's the way it is.
I'm not saying it's right. I mean, this is the thing. Like, when we talk about the unions and we talk about the cost of, and all stuff, and it's like, take it from somebody who's been around the block a few times, who's older probably than most of our listeners. The companies do only care about the money. And if you're looking to stay in the game as long as possible, you will do what you can do to help the company make money. Mm-hmm. Because that makes you more valuable.
Right. Spending all day on Twitter or Blue Sky isn't going to keep your job.
Demanding that your company culture change because it hurts your feelings, that's not going to help your case. You're going to be looked at as a pain in the ass and you're going to get gone. If you cost too much, and this is what we talk about with the unions, and they're trying to save money, and you cost more, guess what? You're probably going to get gone. This person had 10 years of experience. It might have come down to the fact that, well, this person costs $200,000, and I can get the same thing for $75,000.
Honestly, what sounds like to me was the people that were on leave, they got rid of first because they try to say, oh, you're not performing. Well, of course you're not performing. You're on leave. And they just use that, they might not even look. They might have even just, run it through an algorithm, who's not performing, get rid of them without even double checking it. And then they didn't double check and just got rid of a bunch of people. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and it might just be run through a system like who's, what I'm saying? But they said that Meta, and this is the truth of tech, unfortunately. They said they believe Meta really is only for young workers now without families that don't have anything else to focus on rather than making money. This is the unfortunate truth of pretty much every tech company.
I was going to say comics too.
Comics too. Comic books too. Yeah, there are some industries that frankly you can't really work in or give the time to the company that they expect if you have a life. And I know everybody talks about the work-life balance, but in tech, historically, it has not existed. Like, I mean, you're talking back in the day, you were in your early 20s, you were expected to sleep in the damn office to get things done. When I hit 30 and I was working in tech at 30, I was over the hill. Mm-hmm. And they'll let you know. Oh, you're 30, you've got a house and kids, a family. You not only do you cost more, but there are probably going to be more, family things you're going to want to do. And if we're looking to make money and get you to burn a candle at both ends to work on a project, guess what? You're not the guy for that. And they will basically tell you that. I mean, there was one ad agency I applied for, and they were kind of grilling me about like, well, I hate to say it, but they were like, is your family going to get in the way of your duties? And that's how they look at it, because it's okay if the CEO has a family and has a life. But the truth is, to them, they hire you to do the work that they can't do.
Right.
And if you can't do it, they'll find some other punk right out of college that can.
Again, not saying it's right, but they basically want to make they want to make money, and they want you working all the time.
Yeah.
And you're going to compete with people for how much you get done and how much money you make the company.
Yeah.
And
now
it sucks, but it is what it is.
That's the way it is. Right. And with tech, especially with marketing, like anything that's like a digital, like they talk about in the military, I guess it's like up or out. And it's kind of that way in tech too, where you either get to a place where you're the boss or you start your own company or something, because you just working as a grunt for one of these companies, whether it's tech or gaming or whatever, long term, that is not an option. If you want life, that's not an option. They said there's a shift in Silicon Valley. They said the tech world's been going through a pendulum swing for some time now.
No.
What?
Dang.
It's hitting workers on their backs. Employees have been subjected to waning job stability in the form of layoffs, decreased flexibility with RTO, return to office mandates. They abused it. That's why you're having to return to office. You abused it. And a changing culture as CEOs cut DEI programs while publicly backing Trump. Oh my God,
What's
guys.
that have to do with people getting laid off?
It has nothing to do with, like, it's like, wait. They laid me off, I believe unfairly, because I was on maternity leave. But did you know Zuckerberg's awful because he cut DEI programs and he's backing Trump.
Right?
And his glasses look silly.
They do look silly.
So this is Fast Company. They got some more. This is on see Reddit and stuff. They said Zuckerberg was talking about raising the bar on performers. They said this person, Kayla Curie, who until Monday worked in product content operations at Meta, posted on LinkedIn her surprise being lumped in with the supposed low performers after receiving and exceeds expectations in her mid-year review. I frequently asked for feedback and was always told I was doing a good job. I think he said he didn't say it was only going to be low performers. He said the low performers were the starting point because it was easiest to let them go. I was never placed on performative improvement plan, never given corrective feedback, never properly mentored or provided clear expectations. Well, that's part of the problem company-wide then. That's probably why everything got out of control. And they're just kind of going through and they're like, so how much of this? Okay, so here's the thing. Because they're bringing this up too. They're like, the CEO also donated to Trump's inauguration fund, attended UFC CEO and Trump ally added Dana White to Meta's board, and declared on Joe Rogan's podcast in January, companies need more masculine energy.
Yeah, he did do that.
So how much of this is like so there were like 4,000 people laid off, 10 of them, 12 of them are complaining, and they're going to blow it up into this big ass thing because they don't like Zuckerberg's politics now.
Basically.
And it's like, look, the free ride's over. I don't know what to tell you. It's only a handful of people really that seem to be complaining. I mean, it's like, look, there is no such thing as job security. There never was any such thing as job security. Ask federal employees right now. That was supposed to be a sure thing. You were supposed to go get a job for the government and work that job until you're 70 because, they just kept sucking off the taxpayers, and that's ending too. So you're going to have to, I think, adjust your expectations, regardless of where you work, whether it's a private sector or federal sector, whatever. And it's like, realize your job is to make the company money. Your job is to do what they tell you to do with minimal pushback, I guess, unless it's really egregious. And if the job's not right for you, then go find another job. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically it. I think people have unrealistic expectations that maybe they did some shitty things or whatever, but everybody's like, they seem to think they're going to be lifers, and that doesn't happen anymore. So we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
let's wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.